I'm Tim McEwen. I'm the team doctor for Harlequins men's side. This is my 11th season in professional rugby. We normally get here about 3.5 hours before kickoff. Players will normally be arriving from about 2.5 hours pre-game.
So yeah, pre-game it's more directed from the players in terms of what they want from us pre-game to make them feel better. Occasionally a few players will have a few niggles or a couple of injuries being managed throughout the week, and we'll see them pre-game and treat them. But generally speaking, the players just want a bit of immobilisation or a bit of soft tissue release pre-game, and yeah, we just facilitate that for them before the game.
On a match day, this is our home medical room, so we will treat the players on this bed. We have an ultrasound machine to do live diagnostics, as well as our suture area there, so repairing any of the players that have been any wounds during the game or often post-game as well. In terms of our medical cover, I think a lot of people aren't aware of how many people or how many people there are in the medical team. So we have 5 doctors that work at each game. There's a crowd doctor, purely responsible for those in the crowd. There's a team doctor for each team that will be in the dugout, and then there's an immediate care doctor who is there for assisting any significant trauma. We also have an independent matchday doctor who sits up in the stand with another medic to monitor purely for concussions and blood injuries. Alongside that, we have normally 3 or 4 physios for each side, working together with the players to make sure that we're all covered for significant injuries, and then the paramedics are also with us in case a player needs to go to hospital or is taken off the pitch. So before every game, we do what's called a moulage, which is a practice extrication of an injured player.
Ready, steady, tilt. Lovely.
So Dave, if you take an anterior hold from the front.
Me?
Yeah. So straps on now, guys. Straps go first before the blocks. We always want to make sure we've practiced it before the game to make sure that if we need to do it in the game, it's essentially muscle memory and we're not really having to think too carefully about what we need to do. We already know our roles, we know what each of us is doing to make sure that we can take the player safely onto the board and get him into the medical room in a safe manner rather than worrying about the TV cameras and crowd watching us. This is the medical room, so the players would come in the tunnel into the medical room for their HIA, and then we would use Hawkeye system to go through the concussion assessment. If we want to look really closely at the impact as it happens, how the player falls to the ground, how he first moves. Once we've clipped it, all the other iPads have that in their system so that we can all access it immediately. So we can radio to each other to say, could you just look at this clip? And we make sure that we're not missing it. So we all try and work together as a team to make sure that everything's viewed and reviewed live during the game. In a game, we have a number of doctors, a number of physios pitch side. Injuries do happen in rugby. We have to make sure that we're prepared and we're as safe as possible for the player. But ultimately it's a contact sport and injuries do happen.
Talk to me, sir.
Just got a knock on my neck. Yeah. Oh,
Okay, what are we feeling?
it's like a shock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just on that. You rotate your head fully. How sore?
I'll try. Let's see how far.
He'd sprained his neck during the game. He just got a collision to the side of his head, and he had pain in his neck. Obviously, Steph's an experienced forward and has had these many times before. And he had good strength at the time in his neck, so was able to continue. But then obviously pain was a bit of an issue for Steph, so the decision was made to remove him at that time.
No good? No. Yes, fine. Yeah. Right. Substitution for Steph, please.
Danny Kerr having his hamstring stretched out. I think it was his knee. Just as he dives in onto the ball there, Harry Wilson.
Kerr's injury during the game was opposition player fell on the outside of his knee, forced his knee inwards, and resulting in a bit of an MCL sprain, pain on the inside of his knee.
Sore when I'm touching you now?
Yeah.
Sore above there? What have you done on this knee before?
Nothing, that one. It's the one part of my body, I think it's alright.
Relax. On your feet, let's have a... Give me a couple of squats, mate, and we'll see. Testing wise there, you felt solid.
Yeah.
Maybe a meniscus, but like, how's... Go a couple of single legs. Mate, if you're not confident, we'll just call it in. Do you want to give it 2 minutes?
Yeah. So we go.
This knee, good to continue for the next 2, but eyes on. My gut is it'll be a substitution. He wants to give it a go.
He felt it at the time, but was adamant he wanted to continue trying to play. So we gave him again a couple of minutes, but he did one kick on his knee and was sore. So it was on both occasions. It wasn't really the stability or any worrying signs of the neck or the knee. It was more the pain that the player was experiencing.
I don't really know, Matt. I've never done a knee till that one.
You're moving all right on it, but the pain's not getting any better.
When I kicked there.
So on that guy, on that guy.
It's all that.
Right, fine. If we just relax fully. Do you want us to strap you, or do you strap and carry on, or should we call it? It's more how those last 2 minutes were pain-wise. Can we get a substitution for Danny Kerr, please? Substitution for Danny Kerr.
Yeah, probably remaining calm in those situations. The game's going on 100 miles an hour, and when we get to a player, the game's probably still continuing, and it's trying to slow the player down, have a conversation with them, or a calm conversation with them in the midst of chaos, and then making a clear decision. The worst thing for the player or the coaches at the top is for us to radio on and say they're fine, they're great, and they'll be good for the rest of the game. To then, in both occasions, then we go on within 5 minutes and taking them off for a substitution. The players don't like it, the coaches like it even less. So it's trying to stay calm and make a good decision on the pitch with all the information that you have.
So post-match, as soon as we're done, we'll try and pack away our kit that's pitch side away in the trunks to make sure that's safe. We then try and catch every player in the changing room to make sure how they are, if they've got any niggles. If they have got anything that we think is going to affect their training on Monday, we'll normally ask them to come into the medical room and we'll have a look at them either on the physio bed or with our ultrasound machine. Essentially anything that's going to affect training from Monday, we need to know about there and then to try and get on top of it. Once we've done that, we then put that all together in a updated form and send it off to the various staff that need to know for planning for the next week and the next fixture. So coaches, the rest of the performance team as we go in to Monday and focusing on the next match.